Well, yes and no, because it all is inspired from her book. So I would say, lots of sound elements she's describing in her memoir. But then when it comes to creating the film, I work very closely with the DOP and the sound team, and then a whole new process starts. Whereas Amy was very involved in the structure of the screenplay and the question about does it feel real or true to her family story, not so much into the real like filmmaking nerdy craft bits of it. She's a literary person, she thinks in words and lines and all that, and when it comes to like sound design it can become very technical. So Saoirse was on board already before I came on board. So I had the benefit of reading Amy's book with her in mind. And that was quite great because the book is really a tough nut to adapt. It started off as an internet blog. It feels like a collection of journal writing essays, sort of. And for the first half of the book, I thought, okay, this is unadaptable. Like, I have no idea how this is going to be a film because it jumps in timelines, so crazy. Sometimes 5 timelines in one sentence, or it's impossible. It's not a movie. And then the more I progressed, reading, the more it became this creative challenge in terms of, but if we made it into a movie, how would that movie need to look like? Because actually, it's a very, very unique book. And then knowing that Saoirse would, play the main character was a big relief because half of the film, as you know, is just her on a tiny remote island, and there are not many actresses in the world who could pull that off, to make that be interesting. First of all, we had to get up 4 times to capture everything because the lambs are only born in April and we needed lambing in the film, but we weren't even fully financed yet. So we had to do a pre-shoot in a tiny unit. Then we had to come back in June and we still weren't fully financed and ready to shoot yet, but the birds are nesting in the cliffs only in that time. And then we came back for the main shoot in summer, where we were more confronted with the fact that it was quite too sunny and a mild, beautiful Arcadian summer. But we needed to tell the story that she spends a winter there. So some of our gales are just made with leaf blowers and, somebody sprinkling water against the window. And the fourth time we went in a tiny unit to catch some snow in winter, that's when it was really cold and dark and tough. So, I mean, nature is its own character in this piece, and it has so much to do with her story of healing and recovery. So, we had to adapt to nature completely, and we had to be flexible in our shooting schedule and look at the weather forecast for the next 3 days and go like, yeah, it's going to be windy. Okay, let's film that scene outside where we need wind. Oh, it's too windy, then it's going to be too dangerous on the cliffs. Okay, no, then we can't go. I think during the script writing, it was just Amy's experience because that was so rich and so it was enough, it's her real story. So whenever something was unclear with me, I could pick up the phone and say, hey, Amy, how was that exactly? Or how do you feel in this time? Or what happened here? There was really no need for additional research. And then also when you talk to people about the subject, it is crazy how many people have a relationship to addiction in some sort. It's like you just go with a friend to dinner and it becomes a research conversation because then they tell the story about their mom or their ex or whatever. And so when we were in pre-production and then working with the real people, because most of the people that you see on screen do have a real history, or come from theater groups of recovering addicts. And they, of course, then share their stories, and some influenced the film maybe a little bit more, but the main experience, including all the stuff that went, I mean, it's all true, but in a way, what you see on screen, it's what happened to her. It's her real story. It's a true collaboration, because especially she's a producer in this one. That's a great benefit because then I know this is going to be her baby as well. And she will be coming 4 times with us to Orkney because we have to make it work, even though we're not ready, but delivering lambs, you can't do that. And so it's fantastic when you have somebody who's so willing to throw in everything she has, and then she has her process of preparation. We have our process together of writing and talking about the scenes and rehearsing them. And then on set, usually it's a real collaboration in terms of, how much freedom can I give? How much do I need to, challenge her to, make it even harsher or edgier or messier, because it is about leaving the comfort zone. It is a character on the edge. So that was a wonderful shared process, really like a true, true collaboration on eye level. I think every creative decision in this film is based on the book somehow. The book is an incredible, rich collection of thoughts and internal processes and memories and everything. So Amy is a person who experimented a lot with hair colors, with fashion. In the book, she writes about dyeing her eyebrows red and be totally messy drunk with this, like sort of allergic reaction on her eyebrows. And so I found that quite inspiring as somebody's character design almost, and then you use it for storytelling. And of course, it's not that Amy in London only had blue hair and blah blah. So then we take it into a narrative structure and we make it our own, but the inspiration comes from her character and from the book. We just then use it as a tool to help the audience navigate the timelines, but also, to help the color concept go through. That blue stands for Orkney, and in London there is some blue, and London itself has more the orange, pink, red contrast colors. So in the end of the film, after being totally natural and sort of grounding herself, she finds this London wildness again, but in a more healthy way, I would say. And I do think it is because we usually start working together on script level, all together, the composers, the sound designers, even our re-recording mixer. We get together at a stage of, it's like almost when there's a treatment. Because it's an audiovisual medium, the minute you think about how is this movie going to look like, you also automatically think of how's this movie going to sound like, especially a movie in this setting. And then sometimes it is about holding back, how long do we have to hold back all those nature sounds of Orkney, to then have the effect that when Rona opens herself up to it, we as the audience do it as well. And so the question is always, how can we manipulate in a way that we put ourselves in her shoes as much as possible?